The Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is a wonderful game full of potential fun. The lack of a resource system opens up a plethora of explorable questions like what is the best deck, how to correctly play out certain hands, is Forehead Ash the supreme jailbait, or is Foot Ash still better? So many questions and only one mad lad to find answers to all of them in his Duelingbook Fieldstudies. A Professor Sunreis production! Hello class, Professor Sunreis here. In today's class we are taking a first look at Duelingbook Fieldstudies, the series which I'm starting on this channel, where I, instead of going into replay analysis, I will be going into live commentary. So I'm just going to talk about all of my thought process while playing the game out. In my opinion, this could give you guys a more realistic approach on a play-to-play basis on how to do your decision trees, how to read your opponent's hands, stuff like that. Because I feel like in a replay, if I see the cards the opponent has, maybe I don't remember as much of what happened and what was my decision tree here and there. So I think I'm just going to give you a more realistic approach on how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So you can hopefully learn better from that. And also I can talk about like meta trends, everything which comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling book, right, honestly. And maybe in the series, we can maybe even get into the higher ranks of top 200. I think I'm currently at around rank 100. I'd like to get back into those top 20s again, like in last ban list. But anyways, without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please some feedback down below, and let's get right into the video. So actually, before we get into the gameplay, let's take a quick look at the deck list which I'm currently using. I'm actually pretty happy with how this deck is playing out. I've did a few changes, as you can see. I'm not gonna go over my reasoning too deep into that, which will be saved for deck profile, of course. But if you just want to copy this list, you can definitely do. I have different variants as well. I have tested the Swap Rock variants as well, but I just didn't like it too much. I also have this hand trip variants going, which I'm just gonna do the math on later on today, I think, to see if this might be better. I've done actually a big amount of testing for this event because I really want to get this deck list out clean, just because it is so experimental. I really wanted to do lots of different testing. I did 100 test times with like basically all of these variants. I did 2 of these, one without prosperity as well, just to get like a really solid deck list going. One quick change which I wanted to do, because the draws were kind of lackluster, but more importantly, I wanted 2 more cards against tier elements. I want to put in the 2 Veilers from the extra deck. Everything is looking pretty okay from most of the part. So let's just get into the actual gameplay. Let's take a look here, go into the ladder. What I want to do in this series is maybe play like 1 to 3 matches per episode. I want to not really go over 30 minutes per episode, so I really try to cut between long thinking sessions, but depending on the amount of games and, or more importantly, the length of one game, we of course will have to do some have some variants in there. So we win the rock paper scissors. We're up against Marco Stivaletto. We win. We decided to go first. We're up against 40 cards. Our opening hand is looking not too clean. It's not the end of the world though. We can definitely play. No, we don't want to draw here. In this hand, I would always use the Lubellion first, just to play around the draw here, just to get the search going. I would definitely search a Serenity here, because with Magnamut we can of course just search the thing anyways. So here we kind of want to go for Prosperity for 6. It's kind of lackluster, but we definitely have to go for that. Of course, you don't always want to go for that. In a hand like this, I feel like these will be very important, because we are actually kind of low on sprite counts. Our engine actually might not resolve. We can banish the Sprint. We can banish the Elf. Then one last banish. We probably will not go into a Djinn Buster, just because we have very little sprite cards available to us. So we can banish that. And then we put very high emphasis on the Masquerena. So we have both targets for that. Oh, my thing is on American. My keyboard. I'm just gonna mill 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting adds here. I think I might just want to add a blue. But then again, yeah, we definitely want to add a blue, because we want to go for Angler Serenity and then go into Elf. Yeah, because we cannot go into a Sprint. We need to go into Elf, and for that reason I want to take the blue. So put them all on the bottom. And now we can just play basic Sprite, Bastille, basically. So we normal summon the Angler, summon the blue, effect of the blue. We might want to add a red here. let's think. If we added Jet, we can summon Jet. We go into Elf. No, we actually we're gonna add a red here because we can use that additional body. Yeah, we're gonna add a red so we have some sort of protection for our combos. Some of that. Importantly, we go into Serenade here, banishing the Lubellion, and we use that Serenade to go into the Elf. That way we have an additional level 2 body to go into Gigantic to get the Jet out of the deck and then enter Masquerena. So we summon that. We use these two. It doesn't really matter what we use in this scenario to go into an Elf. Effect Serenade, sending the Lubellion. Where is it? There it is. Then we can use the Magnamut, target Saronia. We banish that. Probably there's no... Oh, okay, they do have a thing for that. That's why we have the red, of course, because we really want to resolve that. And if we get hand trap there, I'm just gonna decide on a whim what I'm gonna do there. Okay, we don't get hand trap there. On rest, we use the Magnamut. So we have a Druid Worm as well, which is really good. And then we summon the Lubellion. Not in the zone where the Elf points to, of course, because we want to put a Masquerena in there. You could argue maybe... No, I don't think we put a lot of emphasis on this being target protected. So we get the Beast. Now we use the Elf, target the Angler. We overlay for a Gigantic. Effect Gigantic. Let's see if this resolves. This resolves, which is nice. Now we can go into a Jet. Effect Jet. To add a Smashers, probably. The thing with Smashers here is, oh, they do have a Disruption. I'm perfectly fine with that impermanence, actually. Yeah, because the Smash is actually not that good with our hand. Because we have very little ways to get level 2s on the board immediately. We basically are forced to use Elf for that reason. And we also want to use that for red. So actually it is fine because we basically have a Smashers and the Beast. At least it checks out all the marks which the Smashers would do. So I think we're fine here. End phase, we will activate, resolve the Druid Worm. With also Magnamut as a Druid Worm. Very important, of course, for the Masquerena. And then we pass turn. Yeah, good board for a very mediocre hand with lots of Bestials going first, which is of course not always the most optimal thing, but through one imperm with only one way into Sprite, that is a very decent board. Our opponent is thinking in an end phase. I don't know what they could be thinking about. Maybe they want to use a Bestial, but they can't do that because they thought on one of our Bestials, which is why I was thinking maybe they have a Bestial in hand. What were they thinking of impermaning? The Magnamut, right? No, they were thinking about using something on Magnamut in hand effect. So, of course, always important to do some reads. I was thinking about maybe they have a way to interact with our graveyard because they were thinking of Magnamut. These are all things you want to definitely keep in your head, but most importantly, don't overthink on them. Which seems very easy. Very obvious, but it's like really hard to stay realistic with your reads and know when not to play around stuff, for example. But yeah, we're just gonna see what happens here. Let's not think about weird stuff too much. So they are gonna use Prosperity for 6. I'm actually thinking about using Elf here, so I have my my red effect ready for when I need it. So I think this is actually what I want to do. We could also wait for a Talents because, yeah, I think most matchups you don't need to negate for 3. Let's just 3. Wait, I'm quickly gonna put that back. Okay, that's fine. We don't have an interaction for that. So they are on Sprite. So this is what I wanted to say. Against like 99% of them, at least for the meta matchups right now, you're super fine by not negating the first action they do. So I think I'm gonna wait with my Elf here just not to play around into a Talents too hard. Against Sprite, for example, you don't really want to negate the normal summon, and if the normal any body, you can then use the Elf effect to get your to get the red fodder going. Against the elements, we have Bestial, so we always want to Bestial. If they normal summon Reinhardt, if they use Sharon, we will just Bestial the cards which they mill. Against Florunreis, you don't need to negate the first normal summon. You're totally fine by just negating the second one. If it's not thing, of course, if it's not chain blocked, so no need to use the Elf here. In that scenario, they will actually be adding a Magnamut, so they don't have a Bestial in hand probably. So let's see what they will do here. With the one Magnamut in hand, I feel very confident if by just popping the normal summon. Now I don't feel as confident here. We could red pop the Masquerena here because we are against that deck. I feel very good about that actually. This does play into talents, but we don't have a lot which they can talents them because we can just use Elf to get follow-up and then we just win. I feel very good about that. So, also very important thing. I feel like I'm all over the place right now, but you don't have to stick to a game plan, right? So, for example, my game plan was Masquerena into 0 Boros or Appaloosa for 3 with the Druid Worm or something like that. But if you have a chance like this to just completely stop your opponent, apart from if they have a starter, and if they have a starter, we can just Branded Beast the normal summon, and then we still pop them, and they have no way to get additional body on the board. You just go for that. And even for some reason they play Emergency Teleport or something like that, we are still fine. We use Magnamut here. Target our own Magnamut. We will just Druid Worm here. Druid Worm negates their Magnamut and gives us the chain Druid Worm. Magna, I guess. And then we chain our Magnamut. Yeah, so they conceded. So that was a very good thing us to do. We read the matchup against Sprite. It's super good to hit the normal summon. It basically puts them on better have starter. And if you have a way to interact with the starter body, you can always go for that. Sprite is super vulnerable when it comes to that. If you don't draw hand trips, you're not good. You're not doing good. So going second against Sprite, you definitely want to side out these because they are just not good enough going second. While the Bestial Engine is putting lots of pressure on, the bodies themselves are definitely enough. Now that I have a Veiler in there, I might want to play in the Veilers. I feel like they're better than at least a few of the Bestials, just because they just don't do enough in multiples probably. I think 7 are fine. You could even argue for some Lightning Storms to deal with a Toad. Yeah, maybe I'll put in one Lightning Storm and just see how it goes. Usually I'm also a fan of siding out Prosperity against a few decks. Especially against the elements, I do side that. Yeah, our opening hand is insane. Just because you really want to have all options available in your extra deck, which is something I've noticed with this deck. So post side sometimes if I have the space, or more or less I have space issues, mostly against the elements because I want to get so much stuff in there. I just want to completely stop them. And I figured that really helps. So they have a very bad opener. Holy shit, the Gamma is gonna come in clutch. I'm looking at the time. I think if this one goes quick here, we will definitely play another one. So, very bad opening. This means that we think the opponent is on a very bad hand and want to make our decisions accordingly. For example, a Gamma on Sprint is usually not something you want to go for, but in a hand like this is definitely very doable. And I think we will just go for that. They used a very bad opener. If they have a starter, so be it. If they have starter, Gamma is never a complete turn skip. So we used the Gamma here. Completely shot them off on level 2 access unless they have starter. Usually a play which you would not go for, but in this scenario I feel like it is the correct approach, and that's just feels like a conceit on the opponent's part here reading. That's just an unlucky game. Break. I don't know what they mean with that. Oh, brick. Yeah, that's a brick, bro. Hey, brother. GG's. It happens. We would have drawn opening, which is a pretty bad draw. So, very quick game. Definitely time for another one. I'm aiming, like I said, I want 20 to 30 minutes here. Yeah, deck is looking good. Nothing really to change there. I've tested it a lot, like I said. Not only on the consistency part in like just drawing a shit ton of test hands, but most importantly, on the part where I check out my defensive cards lineup and my engine card and see if I have a high enough ceiling to consistently win going first. If I have a variable end board, so I can play around stuff like Dark Ruler. Most importantly, if my defensives are doing good, and this is why I was, of course, changing the draw, because I was in my side deck pattern. I noticed I wanted 2 more cards against the elements, so I'm testing the betas against them, which are not like the best thing, but I noticed that just trying to stop tier elements, that in the track is like the best approach I feel like with this deck. So we win the rock paper scissors again. By the way, I'm currently at 832 rating. I'm just gonna here, you can see it. Put myself back down here. I think it was right about here. I don't care. So let's see. Opening hand is looking kind of good. Prosperity could get us into more stuff, but we don't need to use it right now. We will just use the billion. For example, in a hand like this, I don't want to go for prosperity for 6. I would definitely probably only want to go for prosperity for 3. I just don't know when to go for it exactly, because I don't really have too many like powerful cards which I want to go for. Depending on the matchup, of course. If I'm against T elements, I definitely want to just get another Bestial. So I'm just gonna leave it for now and thin my deck out, and then use my prosperity maybe later on, get another Bestial, get something else just. So opening is probably fine. Post side, definitely maybe the play would have been to prosperity for 6 for talents, because our hand was very droll vulnerable. But I think we are fine on that department. So we normal summon the Beckoning Beast, no effect. Sad thing, I missed playing 3 opening of the Spirit Gates. This engine felt so insane then. And then we just summon the blue. Effect blue to probably search a red again. Which is something I'm doing lots of, because I have no dedicated gigantic target. As you've seen, I'm not playing the Swap Rock. A friend of mine who's basically playing the same deck, I finally convinced him. He's playing the Swap Rock package and he swears on it, but I just don't see the reason. I've done the math. I showed him that mathematically it is consistency-wise just a little worse. Not a little worse, actually. Depending on how you interpret it, it's very bad. But yeah, anyways, we summon the red here because we, like I said, want the protection. And now we can go for basic sprite combos. Effect sprint. We probably want to banish the... I think I banished the blue here with the Magnemite. Yeah. So let's go for the Angler. Effect Angler. Summon the 2 beavers. Let's just... The opponent's not really doing anything, so I think we're fine. Yeah. Then we use the Magnemite, target blue. No response on their part. Perfect. Effect. No response, I would think, because usually Magnemite is not something which gets disrupted. Let's just summon the Libellion here. I love this engine. It feels just so safe. Having that Branded Beast additionally there, having that Branded Beast plus plus Drew's Worm is insane, I'm telling you guys. So we get the Branded Beast out of our deck. And now we think about if we want to go for a sprint end board. If we go for a Gigantic here, effect Gigantic, summon Jet. We could end on sprint as well, but I don't really feel the reason. Like, I don't want to go blindly for it. If I'm against Sprite, I know I'm against Sprite, I will definitely consider it, just because as you've seen, it's not really that important to go for a big Appaloosa against them, just because red plus sending anything Link XDs materially is very good against them, so we don't need to go for that. But blindly, the Masquerena matchup is just end board is just a little more safe, because against T elements the bounce is just not good enough, for example. So Jet probably resolves because the opponent is probably not on any disruption whatsoever. And now we can just safely go for... Actually, we had the start on the hand, right? So we can probably go for a carrot route as well, which is pretty cool, I guess. So we go for an elf elf to target beaver. Doesn't really matter here. And then we have to think if we want to go for starter summoning carrot, which I think I want to go for because starter in our turn is just not good enough. Mostly because we go for Masquerena, of course. So we have to think differently with how we use it. Usually you want to set a starter to save it as to play around Dark Ruler. But the way this deck plays, you summon so many times in the opponent's turn non-level 2s. So we really have to go for a starter here. Summoning the carrot, so we have everything. This also helps around with the smashers. So we take 1k here. You could argue elf under a carrot under the elf is more important, but this plays safer into stuff like Imperm, for example. And I think we know Prosperity for 3, banishing a Djinn Buster, which will probably not come up again. Probably, let's think. I kind of want to keep the Zeus package, but I don't think we need the Centaur. This will probably be enough, so we can banish that, and then really want to keep both options available to me because no hand trap screams different stuff. I'm just gonna banish 1 elf. This could also be Flunder, I guess, right? Banish 3. 1, 2, 3. I think I'll take an Imperm because we already have a Bestial in hand. Yeah, the opponent just scoops there. So no hand traps. Let's take the information. We had no hand traps. We had a 40 card deck list. I think 41, right? So this kind of screams either a brick. It could make anything. Or it's something like Flowunderies. So I definitely would not side in a shifter. I'm just gonna side in the Gamma package, and I'm actually gonna side on the Lightning Storm just because it is kind of generic in a sense. So we can side out these 3, maybe side out one of these so we don't draw multiples too much. Because if it's really Flowunderies, the Drew Swarm doesn't really do anything. But also side in these. Actually, I'm gonna go for that. I want to have a very generic approach, and I feel like that is doing good in that department. Having lots of generically decent... Oh, it's 42 card actually. So it might actually be the elements. We could have hurt ourselves here quite a bit. Our opening hand is okay. We have like very little defensive, but we have very good engine with 1 brick. It is Sword Soul. Good thing that we have the Veiler here. The Veiler will be very good on that. Of course, with the Long Run, it's not enough, but it puts them on very little defensive cards, I say. So they go for the Grandmaster. They pitched in Moyi, which is okay. It doesn't really matter what they pitch at that point. They get to draw plus do that. Of course, Sword Soul is a very weird matchup. I feel like I'm struggling a lot against that matchup, actually, which is kind of annoying. But they have big beat sticks. They're like probably the best aggro deck in the game right now, which doesn't mean a lot because aggro is basically dead. And the elements is so fast and high ceiling that it's actually almost feels like an aggro deck, but just not quite. But anyway, so they end on the not standard board because they're lacking the blackout, but they have 1 set. So please Lightning Storm and we win here. Talents is a very good pickup. Let's see. What is the better normal summon here in this scenario? Probably it doesn't really matter because if it gets negated, it gets negated. I guess I'm gonna go for the Beckoning Beast because it has the bigger ceiling. And it plays both play into rivalry equally, I guess. But we can chain a starter on that. Yeah, we play Beckoning Beast. This in theory, Beckoning Beast here could make the Beaver not a dead card because if this resolves, we can use it as a discard, which will probably never happen because they have a way to deal with the spell. But it's just something which we might consider. Ash, okay, probably the worst Ash of all time. Why would you not Grandmaster that? That is a very bad Ash on their part. Not that it really matters because we can now use talents to take. Might even want to know. We don't take the Grandmaster, right? We take the Xiang Longjuan. This forced it also rivalry, yeah. So we take 1/2 burn. They banish that. So let's think who we take here. Anything else? Take who? think. We probably want to go for the Jinglong one and just try to kill. They don't have a blackout, and if they have a blackout, we can still play around that. Yeah, let's take that one. We might also be fine with battle phasing. So very important thing. Anything on res? We might want to go into battle phase. I will have later. Okay, so we might want to just go battle phase and run over this, because we might actually not be able to OTK. So why not just go battle safe and save the resources? They are very low. It's just a very safe thing to do, because we probably won't be able to OTK here. Yeah, let's just go battle phase, end of main. If they have stuff like droplet there, I'm totally fine with wasting my battle phase with that. Imagine if they have a Sanctum there. That would be annoying. Banish that so they can pick it up later. That's fine. Think if I want to use the starter issue for just some more damage. I think I want to go for that. Yeah. Oh, the door rang. Door sick. So, I'm back. The door just rang. We got some nice Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Anyway, so we resolved the starter here. Summoning blue. Effect on that. Did they do anything? Let's just see. No, they didn't do anything. Good thing. We will be adding carrot or red. I think I might want to add a carrot here. Yeah, we can just summon the red out of the deck, and then we just attack here. Let's see if they are there for us to play here. So we attacked there, main 2. How do we play this out? We could go into a sprint, but honestly, I don't think I need the sprint right now. We might want to go for a sprint under the X. Depends. I think we will summon the carrot here, so we have a negate for that, and then we just link these off into an elf. Elf, revive Beckoning Beast, and then summon. No, we will first use this. Imperm. Okay. We want the Smashers here. We want the Smashers because Smash is basically game at this point. So now we can link these off into a carrot. Yeah, let's just go for carrot. No skill, son of a bitch. Yeah, perfect. I have no skill, and my mother is actually a whore. So please don't be like that. I don't even know why you be like that, man. Anyway, so hope you guys enjoyed this first quick Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling Book field trip. In the future, we will have way more of these, and hopefully we will have more interesting matchups than these. These were, of course, like quite sacky, I would say. I just outpaced the opponents twice, like very fast and very easily, because the opponents were either playing suboptimal deck builds, which were just like a little lackluster, or they just had some bad luck. So hope you guys, like I said, enjoyed this start of the series. I'm actually thinking about doing an additional intro for that, so maybe it's actually in this video already, or maybe it's in a later one. Hope you guys stay safe. Maybe I see a few of you guys at YCS Dortmund. Feel free to just say hi to me, even if you are shy, or I don't fucking know. Say hi to me or don't, whatever you want to do. And hope you're having a wonderful day in this awful, awful, awful format. Class is dismissed. Professor Sunreis out. Peace.